Bill Panoff here for Porthole Cruise Magazine. You know, many cruise lines have enrichment programs, a class or lecture you can join on board. But have you heard of a program that offers educational enrichment and, better yet, at sea? The Institute for Shipboard Education offers a program for travelers just like you and me, looking to further their education, all the while sailing for months to exotic destinations. Here to discuss her experience on board Semester at Sea's lifelong learning program is Shelley Galloway. Great to have you here, Shelley. How are you?
I'm great, and thanks for having me. I'm delighted to be with you and talk about a subject that's really on my mind all the time.
Thank you. We're very, very excited to learn more. For those viewers who are just learning about Semester at Sea and the lifelong learning program, how would you describe it to them?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's all encompassing emotionally, physically, tangibly, all of the above. You get to sail on a ship for 100 days if you chose the whole voyage. You can also do partial voyages. You're with a community of like-minded travelers, and they range in age from the dependent children of the faculty through the lifelong learning community and then all the crew. And you get to go to wonderful ports and you take part in all the shipboard activities and all the classes. So it's a complete experience.
Well, sign me up. It sounds absolutely
Fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah.
How many times have you sailed as a lifelong learner, and what itinerary do you like the most on an average voyage?
Okay, so I personally have sailed 3 full voyages and
Wow.
2 partial voyages. My 3 kids have each sailed a full voyage. My husband has sailed with me once and by himself once. And my mother-in-law has sailed on enrichment voyages. So we've all sailed. It's been a total family involvement. The typical itinerary I have sailed is either west to east. So I have sailed from Ensenada, Mexico, out to Asia, Japan, China,
Wow.
Malaysia, India, Africa, on to Brazil, and back home to the United States. And then I've also sailed the other way from Montreal, going to Morocco and down and going the reverse direction. So those have been my major itineraries. The fall voyage next year is slightly different.
How do you spend your time while on board at sea, for example? And I would imagine the crew, as you mentioned, eventually becomes your extended family.
They definitely are. I tell the students when they come on board, they're going to know your name and what you want for breakfast the second day you're on the ship.
Sure.
So I cry when I leave. They cry when I leave. It really is. I'm so busy that I have to really monitor my own activities so I have time. So typically I get up in the morning and I find a quiet spot to read and have my latte by myself. And then meals are always communal. So you find a table to sit with people and it's always a different group. I take classes. So the first voyage I was on, I took 6 classes.
Wow.
You don't typically do that anymore. It's space available. So typically I take 3 to 4 classes and I do the basic assignments, but not the exams. And then if there are committees or clubs or activities that I want to be involved in, I can join those. And then the lifelong learner community has a seminar meeting every day. It could involve a cocktail hour and a discussion, or it could be a faculty member that comes in and talks about their class. And we're all required to take the global studies class, which is kind of the overview for the whole program. And then there are evening seminars and movies, and it's a never-ending experience. Yeah.
What was it like sailing with college students? And did you stay in touch with any of them that you met and they become lifelong friends?
Right. Well, a perfect example. So on each voyage, I've been part of the extended family program, and lifelong learners and faculty and staff also do this. So I've had 13 to 14 college students in my family, and my husband did it when he sailed by himself as well. And you meet with them in between each port and you have a smoothie night or pizza night, or some families do game night, or just an open discussion on what your port experience was like. And yes, I particularly on Facebook, I keep in touch with a lot of them. And example was on the fall 18 voyage, I was on for a partial, but I had to cut it short due to a family emergency. And they
Right.
knew I was going to miss Japan, which was my favorite port. And they
Sure.
all sent me cards from Japan telling me
Oh,
they were
so
sorry
nice.
I missed it. Yeah.
So
So,
nice.
they add, I was trying to think who is my closest cohort when I'm on the ship. Beside the lifelong learner group, probably the extended family, and also faculty and staff and
Sure.
faculty spouses.
Sure.
Mhm.
The lifelong learning program offers field programs, which are
Right,
co-curricular in-county or in-country experiences built on relationships with local partners.
right.
Do you get the opportunity to participate in the field programs?
Absolutely. You can either choose to do independent travel, which sometimes lifelong learners choose to do that, or you can do the semester at sea planned out programs. You also, as part of a course, are required to do a 1-day field program in country with your faculty member. That
Mhm.
again depends on the voyage, whether the lifelong learners can go with the students. It's kind of a numbers thing, but definitely I've done many field programs, and my son advised me, take the one that's the smallest number of people traveling because you
Right.
get the most personal experience.
Sure. Sure.
So I have some favorites of those.
Do you have a favorite memory from one of these
Yes,
programs?
I do. I was just gonna segue into that. So the one that I chose on my first voyage was to go to Chennai, India, pick up we took a train. We went down to Kanyakumari in the very tippy point of India where there's a confluence of the three bodies of water.
Uh-huh.
Um, one of the patrons of India is memorialized in a huge statue out in the water. There's a Gandhi memorial. And we stayed with a family in a town near there. And
Wow.
we saw their rubber plantation, their cotton mill, their choir making factory. We went to the
Wow.
school they supported, and we lived with that family.
Wow.
And then after that, we took the train up to Cochin. So we had 2 overnight train experiences, and they were not first class. So that was an experience in itself. We almost got off at the wrong stop, another experience. And then
Uh-huh.
when I got to Cochin, I was able to do a faculty-led practicum to a Brahmin temple, a
Oh,
village temple, where they did the traditional theatrical art there, and we got to see them dress and put on their makeup, which takes hours, and see the performance in the temple. So that whole India experience was something I could never repeat on my own.
sure. These are really life-changing experiences that you're, being exposed to. It's just phenomenal. What would you say to someone who's thinking about becoming a lifelong learner?
Well, I would do it for sure. I would preference, I think, a full voyage because you get the whole experience. Uh, they are doing partial voyages now called spotlights. If you
Uh-huh.
don't have the time to do the whole voyage, that's definitely worth it. And usually the spotlights vary. You can choose a shorter, a middle sized, or a longer one, depending on your time commitment. But you have to remember you're jumping into the community at a midpoint or
Right.
later in the voyage, which
Right.
changes your experience.
Sure.
But
Sure.
I've taken classes that have literally changed how I view the world. I've taken a sound editing class. I now do
Oh,
video
wow.
work with sound
Oh,
editing. I've taken a world religion class, which just changed my perspective. So, just amazing experience.
well. Finally, do you have any advice for future semester at sea students or lifelong learners about how to make the most of the program?
I would say don't stick with one cliquey group, like particularly this is for the students. Branch out. And the extended family program really helps with this because you get to know different age groups, but also
Sure.
you might make friends with kids you didn't initially gravitate towards. I would say do some independent travel for sure, but the semester at sea plan trips allow you a little bit more control. If you're late on your independent travel, you get dock time. And even lifelong learners do. If
Okay.
you are late on a semester at sea plan trip because you do not get dock time, and the responsibility is more on them. So I think it's good to have a balance of both kinds of experiences. I would tell the lifelong learners for sure to do the extended family, for sure to do some semester at sea plan trips, because again, you meet people on the ship on those trips that you wouldn't meet otherwise. And just to branch out and keep your mind open to all the possibilities, because it's never ending. I view my cumulative semester at sea experience as a pilgrimage, and each voyage is a chapter in that pilgrimage. And I learn something about myself and the world each time, dependent upon where I travel and what classes and who I meet in country. And it is truly life changing, even if you go at age 60 or 70.
I'm sure many of our viewers were not even aware of this unique and wonderful opportunity and will soon want to participate themselves. Shelley Galloway, lifelong learners, semester at sea. Bill Panoff here with Porthole Cruise Magazine. Thank you so much, and look forward to sailing with you in the very near future.
Please do. Please do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.